Hello, I'm the developer of Democracy 3 and I thought I'd do a quick video now that the game's released and talk about some of the stuff that's kind of come up since the game's released and a lot more people are playing it. First of all, thank you to everyone who's bought the game, obviously. It's a game done by a small indie studio that's basically just me and some other people doing art and stuff, so I do really appreciate it because the money does actually sort of come to the people that make the game, in this case me. So thank you very much to everyone that has gone out there and bought the game. There were two kind of, I wouldn't say major, but there were two bugs that probably didn't affect you, but if they did they were quite annoying. One was that the game just wouldn't start, which is obviously pretty critical, which was to do with screen resolutions I think, and as far as I know I fixed that. For a very tiny percentage of people that had that problem. And another bug is that the game would seem to hang for ages, and a lot of people thought it had frozen and crashed on the occasional election or if you get an achievement. And again, that was quite rare and didn't happen to everyone, and I'm pretty certain I fixed that. I'm very certain I fixed it because I eventually found a way to reproduce it. It's taken me forever to track it down, but I fixed that yesterday. So version 1.07 should fix both of them. They were both Windows only things anyway, so if you had the Linux or the Mac version then you didn't have those problems. But anyway, they're all fixed. I should talk a little bit about difficulty because some people are saying it's far too easy, and there's various reasons for this. Firstly, it's slightly too easy. But that's a minor part of it actually. A lot of people are playing the UK, which is the first map that you play, first country that you play, and it is one of the easiest. And obviously the first level in any game is kind of meant as partly as a tutorial and partly as a kind of, this is how the mechanics work, rather than really trying to challenge you. So if you played it as the UK and you thought, it's too easy, then play it as the US or France or Australia, and there's modded countries that are getting added as well, because the UK is the easiest one. The other reason that people are finding it easy, I think, is they're just playing it to win, and it's not really a game about winning. It's a game about politics and changing the country. And you lose if you lose an election, but you don't really win if you win an election. It just means you get to play for longer. So you kind of have to redefine what winning at the game is if you want to define it as easy. Because if you want to leave the country as it is and kind of navigate through a few sort of economic problems, then it might not be as hard as you expect it to be. But if you want to change the country, say you're an atheist and you want to completely remove religion from the country, or the other way around, you want to have a completely religious country, those sort of changes, or if you want to shift a predominantly socialist country to capitalism or vice versa, those sort of changes are difficult and you have to do them slowly. And one of the other things I should point out is there's a difficulty slider when you start a new game, so you can just go in there and change that, and if you put it up you'll find it's a lot harder if you're finding the game too easy in general with all of that. On the other sort of side of the spectrum from that, a fair few people were complaining that assassinations are too common and that's not like real life. Firstly, the new patch 1.07, you can turn off assassinations if they really annoy you, but I would say don't. Because the assassinations are an extreme response to an extreme policy. So if you are living in a completely socialist focused country and the government suddenly abolishes most state provision, then yeah, there will be chaos, and no doubt some extremists will try to assassinate whoever's in charge. And similarly, if you take for example the United States, if the week after Obama became president he introduced Obamacare, or a more extreme version of it, a real sort of like nationalised health service for the US, people will go bananas because he's kind of like going ahead of where the population are. And this is how it works in democracy. So if you want to kind of like change society, you can't just steamroll through the policies that you want. You have to nudge in that direction so that people get used to the kind of society that you want. And you can do it, but you have to keep an eye on how angry the people are getting. You can't go from socialist to capitalist overnight, basically. If you try that, you'll get assassinated, or there will be an assassination attempt. But you can turn it off now if you really don't like it. One of the other things I should mention, or two other things really, is I guess is modding and the political compass. There's a political compass thing built into the game if you go to the main menu, and if you click on that, it will record all of the places on that compass from sort of left to right and liberal to conservative, all of your election victories and the countries that you manage them in. So if you're thinking, oh, it's too easy, or it always comes out the same way, then I would suggest taking a country, for example the UK, and seeing if you can win with it in all 4 quadrants. So can you win as a socialist liberal? Can you win as a socialist conservative, which is a thing? And I'm going to get tongue-tied doing the others, but you see what I mean. That's much more of a challenge, and I think more interesting, and that's where the game becomes a lot more interesting. And unless you turn it off, and you can turn it off under the options, it will also show you the victories of your Steam friends that have the game, so you can see if you're more socialist or more conservative or more liberal than your friends on Steam that have the game, by looking at the political compass, and you'll see their Steam avatars come up representing where they are. If you don't want people to know that, you can turn it off, but I think it's kind of fun. I love that feature, and I don't really promote it. And the last thing I would talk about is modding. Because the game's on Steam and there's loads of people playing it through Steam, people keep asking about the Steam Workshop stuff, and that's not in there yet, and I would like to put it in. But towards the end of working on the game, in the lead up to releasing it, I looked at the like software development kit stuff for Steam Workshop and thought, oh god. But I'm sure it's not that bad, I just need to look at it again. But basically the game is designed to be modded, it's designed to be massively modded, and it has mod support in it anyway, regardless of whether or not you put it on Good Old Games or Steam Mod Direct or whatever. It has mod support, and there are already mods. There will be a lot more like officially approved mods when I find the time to go in there and set them up. But if you go to positech.co.uk and the forums, you'll see that there's a modding forum, and that there are people modding in new disasters and other countries and stuff like that. And I want to see a lot of that, and I would like to have Steam Workshop support, just because some people really like that way of adding content to the game. There are modding tutorials on my website positech.co.uk that explain how to do it. It's really easy, you don't need any code, you don't need to know any scripting or anything like that. If you can use a spreadsheet, you can mod the game, and it's also quite good fun. So I kind of like urge people to do that. There's going to be another patch. I'm going to go through and balance a load of stuff. There's a load of equations that I'm not happy with and that I'd like to finesse a bit. There's some balance problems. Carbon tax is too good. There's quite a few things that aren't right. A lot of the events aren't devastating enough if you're doing well, and I will change all that, and I'll keep working on it. So thank you for buying the game, and I appreciate any sort of feedback on what you think should be added or changed. Please tell everyone about the game, and that's it for now.